Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Tweedy. Now, this video will contain spoilers for the story, and I blacked out the character in the thumbnail. So, you should click away if you don't want to see, because I'm about to show who it is. I'm about to show who I'm talking about right here. This is the character I'm talking about, Kronika, Mama Kronika. She's back for Mortal Kombat 1, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I know a lot of people are like disappointed in this, but to be honest, like, I feel like if they're gonna do a new trilogy, like a new Mortal Kombat trilogy, which it makes sense because they need to keep looking for ways to keep the series going. So I think with this new timeline, they're actually gonna do a new trilogy, and it kind of makes sense to like have the first game kind of end the whole like Chronica storyline. Now, for me personally, the things I didn't like about Chronica in Mortal Kombat 11 were, number one, her design. She looked like she was from like Rugrats, like she looked like she was like Tommy from Rugrats or whatever his name is. And also, she would constantly like retcon stuff. Like, for example, whenever they talked about Shang Tsung, she would be like, oh, Shang Tsung doesn't really want souls. He only wants them because I need them later. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. I don't even understand why any writers would put that in. Like, that's just obviously going to piss off the fan base. That's obviously going to make the fan base not like a character. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, in Mortal Kombat 1, she seems a bit more humbled. She's got a new design going on with, like, these robes. So, I don't know. I'm more open-minded to Chronica now. And I feel like... So, here's my read, right? So, obviously, with Mortal Kombat 1, we've seen in the trailers, like, Melina's a human. Kenchi's not blind when he's fighting Johnny in the mansion. Stuff like that. And I think, like, the story is going to be someone's trying to, like, undo Liu Kang's timeline and make it how it was before. And who could be doing that besides Chronica? You know, like, Onaga's powerful, but how would Onaga even know about the past timelines? You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense that Chronica is the one doing that, like in the shadows, like trying to make like a comeback on Liu Kang and trying to get it back. So it makes sense, to be honest. And also, like, I feel like the story, like as far as main characters go, has kind of been centered around Liu Kang and Raiden, at least in MK9 and MK11. And it looks like in MK1 as well, since Raiden's now his champion. So it makes sense to me to have Chronica to, like, they can kill off Chronica, like Liu and Raiden together. And then that can, like, kind of cap off that storyline of Liu and Raiden that we've been following for so long now. And then I feel like after they'll kill Chronica at the end of this game, I feel like to get rid of Chronica for good and stuff like that, I feel like Liu and Raiden might make it to where, you know, there's no more gods anymore. There's no more timekeeper. They might even, like, destroy the hourglass. And in doing that, it's going to make Onaga, like, a huge threat. It's going to make Shao Kahn a huge threat. It's going to make Shinnok a huge threat. Because currently in the game, with Liu Kang being, like, a god that can open black holes and stuff, like, he's not... Like, Onaga's not really a threat to him, you know? Shinnok's not really a threat to him. Shao Kahn's not really a threat. But if Chronica comes back in and, like, either uses, like, Geras or someone else to, like, kind of, like, you know, team up with to match Liu Kang's strength, and then it's shown that, like, as long as there's the hourglass, there's Chronica, maybe Liu Kang and Raiden will get rid of that whole structure to get rid of Chronica, but then thus it'll get rid of their, like, godhood as well. And then, you know, for the next game, everyone's human, but now you got to deal with Onaga type of deal. So I feel like that's a way they could go that can make this, like, a really interesting new trilogy. And it would make sense why Chronica's here in this first part of the trilogy. And yeah, I do think they're going to kill her off in this one. I do think that her, maybe, like, with Geras and Shang are going to be, like, the final boss. And I feel like Liu Kang and Raiden are going to end up killing her. And then it's going to, you know, change everything from there. Now, there has been some leaks that talked about the final boss being a fusion of Geras and Chronica, which would make sense story-wise, because if you think back to MK11, in MK11, how did Chronica lose, right? Raiden fused with Liu to beat her, right? And I feel like Chronica will try to, like, steal that tech and be like, okay, Geras, let's fuse together, fuse our power, and then we'll beat Liu. But I feel like what's going to happen is, like, Liu's kind of going to get humbled by Chronica towards the end, and then, like, but undoing Liu's timeline, what Chronica is going to mess up and do is by undoing her timeline and, like, making Malia Tarkatan, or undoing his timeline, making Malia Tarkatan, making Kenshi blind, stuff like that, she's going to give Raiden the god powers back. In between Raiden's god powers and him being champion again, he's going to be insanely strong. Like, he's going to be strong enough to, like, change the tides of that fight. And what's going to happen is I think Liu's going to be like, okay, So instead of you fusing into me and like me being in control, I'm gonna fuse into you. I think Lou's gonna offer that to Raiden. He's gonna be like, I'm gonna fuse into you this time, and like you're gonna be the fire thunder god. And I think Raiden's gonna be like, no, this time we fight together. And then there's gonna be a cameo fight where it's Lou and Raiden, whoever you pick, and then the cameo's the other one. And then I think the final boss will be a Geras and Kronika fusion with a cameo of like Cetrion or even like Shang maybe. And I think that's going to be the final boss fight. So I think that fits with like the game mechanics and the story. Because like Lou and Raiden, it's always been about like, oh, like getting over the other. You know what I mean? Like Lou wanted to go and take out Shao Kahn. Raiden was like, no. And then fucking like Lou's the god now and like Raiden's just the champion. Like they've never been like on even playing field. You know what I mean? And then Raiden, he kind of sat in the back and let Lou like take over at the end of MK11. So I think finally to end their little storyline, or not really little storyline, their big storyline, I think Lou's going to offer that same thing to Raiden. He's going to be like, okay, we'll fuse and it'll be you. And then Raiden will be like, nah, this time we're finally going to fight together as equals. We're both gods now. Like we're going to fight as equals and we're going to put this bitch away for good. We're going to put her fucking 6 feet deep. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to put Kronika 6 feet deep together as a team. And then at the end of the game, after they kill Kronika and Geras, it's going to, and they get rid of gods and they get rid of the hourglass. It's going to have a shot of Onaga, like being like Birdman. You know the Birdman gif where he's rubbing his hands together? He's like ready to get that money. I think Onaga's going to be ready to take shit over come MK2. And I think MK2, we might get kind of like an Infinity War situation where like Onaga actually wins. I think Onaga might actually win in MK2. And then MK3 is like endgame, you know what I mean? Like they have to like regroup and figure stuff out. And I feel like that makes a lot of sense because I feel like MK takes a lot from Marvel too, like in the writing. So I really think that's how this new trilogy is going to pan out. The first game, they're going to wrap up the Lou and Raiden storyline. And they're going to do that through them beating Kronika, like for good. They're killing Kronika for good. They're getting rid of gods and stuff for good. So they're on an even playing field. There's no gods, no hourglass. Onaga gets teased. Onaga runs shit in the second game. It looks like they might be able to beat him, but then he wins. And he kills like important characters, stuff like that. And then for the third game, they have to come back from the ashes and beat him. You know what I mean? And then they got to figure out another way to reboot MK after that, probably. Like, let's be real. They're gonna keep rebooting MK like until the end of time, basically, you know? So, but here's the thing though. I'm just talking about Kronika and Onaga. There's definitely going to be ways that like Shao Kahn fits into all this. There's going to be ways Sindel fits into all this if she's a villain. Even if she's not a villain, you know, there's going to be ways that Melina and Katana got to fit into all this. And then obviously Shang Tsung. So it's going to be really interesting to see how those pieces on the chessboard come into play. I really don't know, because I feel like they're going kind of like a sympathetic route with Shang. But then, you know, he gets that evil smile. So I don't know what's going to happen with Shang. I definitely don't feel like he dies this game. I don't feel like any of the important villains in MK died this game besides Kronika and Geras. I think this game is going to be Kronika and Geras are getting killed. It's going to wrap up their story this game. But like Shang, Quan, Shinnok, Onaga, all these characters, I feel like they got a lot of potential for MK2 and 3. And I'm honestly pretty excited for it. I feel like it could go in a really interesting direction. Let me know in the comments down below what y'all think, and if you guys think this is like an interesting way that they're taking it. I know a lot of people are disappointed in Kronika, but I'm being open-minded too. I'm being open-minded. Again, the two things that I hated about her was, you know, her Rugrats design and how she was retconning. So if she's a little bit more humble and has a cooler design in this game, then I don't know. I could get behind Kronika personally. Also, another thing that I found interesting is like in this timeline, Shang's like struggling, and Kronika even says that he's been conspired against. Let us find this that part real quick.
Outworld's hinterlands, selling quack cures and fake magic. And you were meant for more. To live among kings, not peasants. But since before you were born, you have been conspired against.
Yeah, and then if you read Shao Kahn's bio, Shao Kahn was born as like a sickly kid with like no muscles, stuff like that. So it seems like whoever has the hourglass, they cannot just delete someone from existence, but they can make their life suck. Like Liu Kang made Shao Kahn's life suck. Liu Kang made Shang's life suck. But it's kind of funny because in making their lives suck, he kind of gave them like that hustle, that mindset, that grind set, and they're like overcoming in spite of that. He should have given them like a good life, like a 2-income household, like, you know, pizza rolls in the freezer, like Xbox to play. And maybe Shang and Shao wouldn't have cared about conquering and taking over and stuff like that. But like he gave them these awful lives and it gave him this, that hustle, that mindset. So I feel like that was kind of an L decision by Liu Kang if he wanted to keep Shao Kahn and Shang Tsung away from power. Should have just gave him that 2-income household, food always in the fridge, in the freezer, Xbox. So he should have done something like that. But as far as like, it seems like the timekeeper can't delete people. Because if you remember, MK11's whole storyline was Kronika wanting to get rid of Raiden. So and the timekeeper is way above a god, you know what I mean? Like way above a regular god like Raiden. So like you would think they could just get rid of someone, but I guess they can't because she couldn't get rid of Raiden. And then Liu couldn't get rid of Shang or Shao. Like he just gave him a shitty life. So that's kind of an interesting detail about the hourglass is like there is limits to its power. Like you can reset the timeline, do this and that, but the people that are going to be born are still going to be born. You know what I mean? They're still going to live, stuff like that. You can't really interfere with that directly. They're gonna find a way. Like life's gonna find a way, one way or the other, and that's an interesting thing. And it makes sense too because if they could just delete someone from existence, there would be no story. You know, like Kronika would have deleted Raiden. Liu would have deleted all these people, you know what I mean? Like, but he can't, right? Like, there's Kronika still out there, Shang's still out there, Shao's still out there. It's just, can they overcome the odds to challenge him? And I think they will, but then I think Liu and, like, Raiden and the gang, they'll figure it out. Now, as far as, like, other characters in the story, another big thing that happens in all the timelines, what happens? Kung Lao dies, right? Kung Lao always gets killed, and I think that's going to be a big thing that Liu Kang's going to be like, yeah, it's my timeline now, Kung Lao's not dying. You know what I mean? Kung Lao's going to be good. But then he's going to get killed either by like Shao or Shang, I think, are going to end up killing Lao. I could almost see a cutscene in my head where like Shang pulls up and then Sindel is like, oh yeah, he's just a snake oil salesman. He's just some bum. And and he'll be like, Mortal Kombat is open to whoever wants to enter or something like that. He'll say something like that probably. Or he'll be like, it's Outworld rule that I'm allowed to challenge people or something like, it's going to be some Game of Thrones type deal. And then Lao's going to be like, I'll take out this old bum. I'll take out this fucking trash dude. And then like Lao's going to be cooking him a little bit, but then Shang's going to like smile and it's going to like, he's going to have like some power he cooked up with Kronika and he's going to fucking kill Kung Lao right there or something like that. I can almost see a scene like that in my head. Or maybe Lao gets killed by Shao Kahn. Either way, I think will work. But yeah, y'all, let me know if I changed your guys' mind a little bit about Kronika in the comments down below. I know a lot of people were hating on Kronika. Let me know what y'all think. I'm going to be open-minded about it. I don't really like her as well, but I'm going to be open-minded. And I think it could set up a really good new trilogy. Let me know what y'all think. That's going to be it for the video, though. Like and subscribe later, y'all.